So I just watched DC's The Penguin, the newest HBO TV show that is connected to the Matt Reeves Batman universe. And I just wanted to give my thoughts and feelings on the show. So without further ado, here's my review for The Penguin. Alright, so to start off, let's talk about the cast. And I think they all did an amazing job. But I think a few standout performances would have to go to Colin Farrell, Renzi Felice, Christian Milati, and also Dendre O'Connor. And sorry if I mispronounced any of those names. And also, that's not to say that everyone else didn't do a great job. They also did amazing too. Also, someone else who did a great job was the makeup team. They made Penguin look insanely impressive and realistic. Anyways, back on topic. Obviously, we gotta start with our main characters. Starting with what the show is all about, the man himself, Penguin, also known as Oswald Cobb. Let me know in the comments how you feel about them changing the name. In my opinion, it's kind of annoying and kind of weird that they just changed it, but I sort of get the reasoning why they did it. Anyway, I gotta say that Colin Farrell did an amazing job and made him such an easy character to hate, but at the same time, somehow still rooting for. And I loved how Colin did a whole new take on Penguin, with him being more of a mobster. And we got a little peek at that in the Batman, but in the show, we obviously get to see more of his character and his motives and who he truly is. And as more of his character builds up as the show progresses. And that's something I'll touch on more later in the video. One person that always stole the show whenever they were on screen was Oz's mom. And to be honest, it was super surprising that she was a show stealer, because when she showed up in the first episode, I wasn't expecting her to be as big as a character as she was in the series. And with her being in the series a lot more, it showed off how good of an actress she is and how complex her character truly was. Another show stealer had to go to Sophia Falcone. She was so interesting and such a cool character, and just how she portrayed her was so great and well done. And also, I really liked how her character develops, and this is shown best in their solo episode, which has to be one of the most brutal and insane episodes of the whole show. Another person who is part of the main cast is Victor, and he has to be one of my favorite characters in the show, and just how he changes and develops as the episodes go on, seeing how he goes from a normal kid stealing hubcaps to being Oswald's assistant. And I just love the chemistry between Oz and Vic and how it grows and changes, which makes my next point all the more depressing, which is some of my favorite scenes in the show. And if you watched the show before, you know exactly what I'm about to talk about, and that is Vic's death scene. And I'm just gonna say it, this has to be the most heartbreaking scene in the whole show, and also has to be the biggest twist of the show too. And it showed that Penguin is just a truly heartless villain, and it makes it so much more depressing with both of their dialogue. And I better see Batman going ham on Penguin in Batman Part 2. No holding back. And if you were on Twitter, you know that the official DC account was not helping and was just being a little bit of a troll to the community. And I can't lie, it was pretty funny. And I really liked this scene. Not in the way that it's Vic's death, but in the way that it's showing that this guy is a true villain that we really haven't seen in a lot of other TV shows in recent years. Another scene I wanted to talk about is the opening scene of the show, and it really sets up both the tone and the feel of the show going forward, with showing a bit of humor and Oz's character. And I love the scene. It was pretty great and got me ready for the show. And in the same episode, we got another great scene, and that being the end. No, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in the way of how, again, it's setting the tone for the show and got me hyped and ready for what is in store. And also 9 to 5 in the background was such a good music choice, which I'll get more into a little bit later on. Another scene I have to mention is with Sophia Falcone, where she uses some sort of toxic gas to kill everyone in the mansion, except this little girl and Johnnyville. And this scene is just so satisfying, especially with the context of the episode. And it's another character that is just so twisted and crazy. Another scene is at the very beginning, and it is shot for shot the exact same from the Batman, where he is looking out of his window. This scene is just such a good way of starting the show, showing that no time has passed and is going to be starting right after the events of the Batman. Listen here, pal. If you like what you're seeing, you better hit that subscribe button. If you want to get some of the best movie news, hit that nutty bell, or I'll hit you in the I also wanted to quickly touch on the action and violence in the show. And I gotta say, they were definitely not pulling any punches. Like, we see people getting burned, poisoned, and straight up shot, which I wasn't fully expecting going into the show with seeing the Batman, where the violence is still there, but a lot more tame. But that's not to say it was a downside of the show. It definitely fit the show perfectly and also fit the show's vibe and characters perfectly. Next thing I wanted to talk about is the music choice of the show. They did so well and fit the episodes perfectly. And I'm not gonna lie, some of these are in my Spotify playlist right now. That's how good they are, and they definitely picked a lot of good artists and a lot of good covers. Another point I want to make is the color grading and editing of the show. And it was pretty well done, and I liked how it made it feel like you're plopped right back into the Batman universe with both a similar color grading and similar editing. And that brings me to my next point, which is how the show has been different to a lot of other superhero shows. And what I mean by that is it's different in quality and how it builds up the universe, helps us see more to this world. Another thing that I wanted to speak on is the absence of Batman. And I remember thinking during most of the show, if he was going to show up at any point. And obviously, we didn't see him. Like, the only mention is at the very end when you just see the bat signal. And to be honest, I kind of prefer this, unlike a lot of other shows that try to do a lot of cameos and most of the time are just kind of unnecessary. And I kind of feel like the show wouldn't feel the same because it's not his show, it's the Penguin show. So what are my final thoughts on the show? I thought it was really good and really didn't have that many flaws I could think of. And I hope that we see the same quality with their next few shows and movies. And not just with Matt Reeves' universe, but also with the new DCU that is being built up. But please, in the comments, let me know your opinions and thoughts on the Penguin. Anyway, that's all I have time for. Thank you guys so much for watching. Now it's time for your homework. On to subscribe, smack that like button. I'll be landing back with my next video. Bye.